Throw out your brushes. Leave your paints out in the sun so they can dry and crack. Painting is but futile. What is the point?
Hey there friends, I hope you're doing well and getting some paint on your minis. In all seriousness, what is the point of painting is something I've heard from people in the community for years now, pretty much ever since I've been in the hobby. And it tends to come from people that are more into the gaming side of the hobby than the painting side, or people that just don't care as much about the painting aspect of this hobby. And that's totally fine. Gaming is a legitimate reason to be in this hobby, and I'm not judging that at all. The reason this has been on my mind lately is I came across a post about a week ago or so where somebody was saying, if I'm not playing the games that these minis are made for, isn't painting a completely pointless task? Now, I spoke with the person that originally posted this and got their permission to talk about it, and I'm just going to quickly summarize what was said here. There are times when I think, what is the point of painting these? I'm not going to be playing any of these games anytime soon. I have 5 armies spread around 2 different games and I haven't played those yet. I am not entering painting contests. I really just paint models, show them to people, and that's it. On to the next one. I have no friends in the hobby. I'm not sure why I paint anymore. That can be a big pill to swallow. Why paint? Why am I spending my money on these miniatures? What is the point? Am I wasting my time on this hobby? And of course the answer to that is a resounding no. Creativity and art is integral to the human experience. Now, doing some research, it appears that humans have been creating art with the sole artistic purpose for at least 40,000 years, although cave drawings can be traced back to 73,000 years ago. That's pretty crazy. Humans have been creating art for longer than we can really wrap our minds around. Art without direction or purpose, art simply for the sake of art. Art is derived from the creative mind, engaging in thoughts we normally don't apply in our day-to-day lives. Art allows us to connect with others. It allows us to express our feelings. It allows us to show our emotions when we have no other way to express ourselves. Art can simply be freeing, fun, relaxing, with a purpose. It can be as deep or as shallow as you want it to be. Now, I personally paint because I like creating something that wasn't there before, but it also allows me to get out of my head and forget about the struggles that I may be dealing with in my day-to-day life. And all of this has nothing to do with either the social or the gaming sides of the hobby. Now, on my hobby journey, the gaming part actually held me back as a painter. For quite a while, I was actually just thinking, what do I need to paint for my force to be viable, for it to be competitive on the tabletop? Thinking about what I needed to paint rather than thinking about what I wanted to paint. And after a while, I realized that I actually enjoy the painting aspect of the hobby more, and that took much longer than I thought it would. But once I realized that, I really started enjoying the hobby a lot more. However, I do think a lot of us get into this hobby simply because of the gaming aspect. We first come upon these dynamic looking miniatures, sitting on these beautiful tables full of scenery, armies just lined up facing one another, ready to go to war across these extraordinary worlds from some fantasy that we've never experienced, and we want to be a part of that. It's so easy to get caught up in the gaming side of things that we start thinking about painting as just being supplementary to it, that it allows for us to get our models painted so that we can get to a table and make war with a friend. But what can often be forgotten is that this entire hobby is built upon the shoulders of artists. Sculptors, painters, concept artists, and illustrators, even the lore of these worlds, are written page by page by armies of writers with deeply creative minds. It can be all but guaranteed that the majority of these artists got into their field because of their passion for art, not with the end goal of playing a game. So when we ask questions like, what is the point of painting? We need to remind ourselves that painting for the sake of painting is a completely valid reason and actually intrinsic to our nature as human beings. Now, none of this is to say that painting is more important than gaming in this hobby. I absolutely got into this hobby, like many others, just to play the games. I remember first finding out about Warhammer through my cousin when I was 8 years old or so. I saw his army book for the Wood Elves army at the time, and that alone hooked me. Hordes of beautifully sculpted, for the time, elven miniatures, going to war against orcs and goblins, riding atop dragons. It was all completely enthralling, and I had no idea that when I got my first miniatures, that I would need to assemble them piece by piece, let alone needing to paint them. I thought you could go to a store, buy these amazing looking fully painted miniatures, and start playing games across beautifully intricate landscapes. I was wrong. So when I did finally get a hold of my first set of miniatures, a High Elf command group, I was pretty disappointed. They were in pieces, they were made of metal, they were unpainted. A lot of the fantasy about this and my excitement faded away into a dull gray-white form. But I was determined, and I wanted to get these to the table. It took me some time, years even, before I got them assembled and had my first models to a table to play against my brother at the time. But throwing those dice down for the first time was a great experience, even if the memory is but a faded image in my mind now. Over the years, I continued to play when I could, going in and out of the hobby as life took over, eventually coming back to it in full force in my 20s. I played games and grew to appreciate the painting side more and more. Eventually I discovered that I could just paint, and that could be enough to be enthralled by the fantasy, and to find my own corner of zen in the hobby. Most of my time in this hobby has been quite isolating. It can be very detached at times. We spend hours and hours in our homes assembling little bits of plastic and metal, painting. That's why we go out and share our work with others, to have a sense of connection and community, that social interaction. But spending our time in this hobby away from others isn't a negative thing. It actually shares that aspect with many other hobbies that others partake in. You can find this in other hobbies like playing video games, gardening, programming, reading. All these things are not negative experiences. They're very positive. So we shouldn't think that when we spend this time in isolation on our hobby and enjoying ourselves, that it's negative. It's not. It's very positive, and it's good for our souls. But if you're struggling with this, you may just need to pivot and try something new that does make you happy. That's fine. So if you're asking yourself, why am I painting miniatures? Maybe instead ask yourself, am I having fun? And am I enjoying the process? If the answer is yes, then keep doing it. That's enough. So thanks again for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave some feedback. I truly appreciate it. A comment, like, subscribe, it all goes a long way. Even if it's negative feedback, it'll help me make this better for you and for me. So until next time, paint today for a better tomorrow. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Hey there, folks. No hat. I know it's weird. I just wanted to quickly say thanks again for all of the subscribes and comments and likes and everything lately. My last video got a lot more attention than I expected, and I truly appreciate it. This has been a blast, and yeah, I just really wanted to say thanks, and I promise to try and keep making every video better than the last one. Again, if there's anything I can do to make this better, just let me know. But thanks a lot, and hope to see you guys around. Bye.